Welcome back. It's time now for Web News. Sorry, it's not called Web News, it's called Media Watch. I'm sorry, I've got my programs all wrong. You can tell I'm a visitor to this studio this evening. Now, we've been talking a lot about the death of the North Korean leader Kim Jong Il, and there have been scenes of grief and crying all over the place, especially on web, and attracting a lot of comment.
That's right. One of those videos has been uploaded onto YouTube by the North Korean authorities. It's got hundreds of thousands of views already. Comments ranging from absolute stupefaction. People just can't believe these scenes of grief. And let's just play some of them because they are really dramatic. And you see people weeping on the ground in front of a statue to the Kim dynasty, and people look just extraordinarily upset. Now, there's a lot of comment as to whether or not these scenes are genuine. In the New Yorker, you've got Philip Gorovich. He says that the moaning is unconvincing at the beginning, and that it's as if people are squeezing their eyes to produce tears. He says the atmosphere of absolute bereavement looks more real later on in the video, but it's almost as if this, what would you say, that it was a frenzy of lamentation that was kind of worked up, and it's not 100% genuine for him. He calls it mandatory public crying. Now, if we move to the next set of images, it's pretty interesting, I think, to go back to 1994 and to see scenes just as dramatic, if not more dramatic, on the death of Kim Jong Il's father, Kim Il Sung. You see similar scenes. Members of the armed forces extremely upset, and just scenes of utter hysteria. And I think there's a lot of bemusement and kind of a lack of understanding in the West of this, and you can see what Philip Gorovich was saying there. He thinks that it's unconvincing. So I was asking Uni earlier whether she thought that was the case, and I don't think so. I think people look genuinely upset, whether or not the reasons behind it are
I have
genuine.
no reason to think that they are doing this with any sense of irony or artifice.
Right.
No,
Right.
we forget that unlike the countries that had an Arab revolution, or unlike the Eastern Bloc nations, they don't have access to radio, television, Twitter, Facebook, and this is the person they prayed to when they were sick, the person they thanked when they got better. I mean, this was really genuinely deified. I have no reason to, this is not distinguishable from scenes of religious fervor, and I think that's basically what's going on.
Right. So, I mean, bearing in mind that they're totally isolated in North Korea, they don't have access to the internet. So if this figure has been deified, as he essentially has, this is essentially the death of a living god for many people in North Korea.
And Uni, what has been the reaction to the news of Kim Jong Il's death on the websites in the Korean language in particular?
Right. Well, one big difference between the death of Kim Il Sung and his son is the internet revolution, and now the news has traveled much more quickly. One of the things that we have coming. Oh, there's a technical problem. There was a South Korean rapper who said on his site, "Why couldn't Kim die a grisly death like Gaddafi?" And I think that's just sort of there he is. And I think that's a sentiment sort of shared by a lot of people of my generation.
A cynical
anyway.
Korean rapper there who thinks that he should have died in as awful a way as Muammar Gaddafi.
He's doing his job. Violence is very important, I think.
A mere heart attack isn't good enough.
Go ahead.
I also looked at the North Korean official Twitter feed, which it basically has the language that I think Philip Gorovich would take issue with, where they're saying this sadness would rip open the sky or something like that. And I think this is what Roland Kundera was talking about. We was talking about communist kitsch, this complete overpouring, ridiculously melodramatic language that has been the language of any sort of Stalinist society, and North Korea is the last place to have it, so it's easy for us to laugh at it.
Right. And just one more that you were talking about as well earlier, Uni, was this page that we're just showing now, which shows a young South Korean girl who thinks that South Korea should express some degree of solidarity with the North Koreans at the time of their leader's death.
Right. This is something that in my day, when I was living in Korea, you would never be able to express an idea like this. A South Korean girl saying they are showing reverence for their leader after he's dead. In South Korea, after the presidents die, there's all this muckraking, and she's saying, well, why can't we be more reverent like they are?
All right. Well, I think to play us out, Tom, we should just play a little clip of a scene that he's probably most remembered for in the West. This is Team America, a satirical movie from a few years back, where he's utterly caricatured, because I think he's best remembered in some senses in the West for just the figure of fun that he was perceived as. He just wasn't taken seriously, so I suppose we'll just leave this play us out.
Sitting on my little throne.
Okay, well, that's brings us up to date with everything going on online. That was Media Watch. Thanks to you and James and Uni. And do stay tuned to France 24 because we've got more news.